For 35 years, Park Min-chul denied freedom to others training North Korean spies to infiltrate the South. But when he witnessed the execution of a defector's family, including 2 young girls, his loyalty shattered. In 2023, at age 56, this intelligence director risked everything to escape the regime he once served. This is the story of a man who chose conscience over a lifetime of privilege in Pyongyang. If these stories matter to you, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us bring these untold stories to light. Together, we can be a voice for those who cannot speak. It all started on a cold Pyongyang morning in the winter of 2022. My name is Park Min-chul. It's not my real name. For 35 years, I ran South Korean operations for North Korea's United Front Department. Can you even imagine? Sending agents into the South? Training them? Directing infiltration missions. That was my life. I was born in Pyongyang in 1967. My grandfather fought the Japanese as a partisan. That made our family core class the elite. My father served in the Korean War. I was the family's pride, their hope. I still see those days clearly. Playing by the Taedong River, climbing Moran Hill to look down at the city. Back then, I was pure. I truly believed we had to liberate South Korea. In 1985, I graduated from Kim Il-sung Political University. They assigned me to the Reconnaissance General Bureau. At 28, I infiltrated Seoul as an agent myself. What I saw in those streets, I'll get to that later. I completed my mission and returned. My career took off after that. By the 2000s, I was training and commanding our agents directly. That winter morning in 2022, I walked into the United Front Department building in central Pyongyang. As a director, I got special rations: rice, meat, foreign cigarettes, and liquor. We lived on a high floor. My wife worked as a cadre in the party's propaganda department. We were privileged, even by Pyongyang standards. During holidays, we had meat and tofu, plenty of it. Most Pyongyang residents struggled. We were doing fine. That morning, we had our usual meeting. South Korean situation analysis, agent deployment plans, intelligence reports, 35 years of the same routine. The cadres around that table all wore the same expression: loyal, obedient. "Comrades, let us work harder until reunification," I'd shout. Everyone would raise their fists in response. Lunch was in the cadre cafeteria. White rice, stir-fried pork, kimchi and soybean paste soup. I took it for granted eating like this every day. Outside Pyongyang, people survived on corn porridge. That afternoon, I visited a secret training facility in Gangdong County. I was there to inspect trainee agents, young people in their 20s, sweating through drills. I watched them and thought, these kids are ready to die for their country just like me. That's what I believed, or wanted to believe. Driving back to Pyongyang that evening, a strange thought hit me. I've done this for 35 years. Why hasn't reunification happened yet? That question stuck with me that day. At home that night, my wife and I had dinner. I looked out at the streets of Pyongyang. Streetlights flickered here and there. Even we lost electricity for hours each day. Could this country really defeat the South? Lying in bed that night, I felt something. Something was going wrong. But I couldn't say it out loud. Even after 35 years of loyalty, that kind of doubt was dangerous. That small doubt turned into certainty in December 2022. An emergency meeting was called one morning. High-ranking officials from the United Front Department, Reconnaissance Bureau, and State Security gathered. The atmosphere was tense. The door closed. The state security chief slammed documents on the table. "Comrades, we have a serious case of betrayal." My heart sank. Betrayal. I sat there, palms sweating. Then I heard the name. Kim Cheol-ho, an agent I had personally trained. I sent him to South Korea in 2020. Now he'd defected to the National Intelligence Service. I spent 3 years teaching that man South Korean dialect, daily habits, cover identity, everything. I treated him like a son. "Cheol-ho, give your life for the country. You are the warrior of reunification." I said those words at Pyongyang Sunan Airport when I saw him off. After the meeting, I returned to my office. A message was waiting on our secure channel, the encrypted system our agents used. The sender was Kim Cheol-ho. My hands shook. I knew I shouldn't read it, but I couldn't stop myself. I decrypted the message. "Teacher, this is Kim Cheol-ho. Please forgive me. But I have to tell you this. This place is real. South Korea is true freedom. Everything we learned was a lie. Don't be deceived. Please wake up." In that moment, my 35 years collapsed. The papers in my hand trembled. I locked the door and sank into my chair. My mind went blank. The truth is, I already knew. In the 1990s, when I was 28, I infiltrated Seoul for 6 months. I saw Myeongdong, Gangnam, neon lights blazing at night, markets overflowing with goods, people laughing and talking freely. I was shocked then, too. This is the place we're supposed to liberate? But I buried those thoughts deep. When I returned, I reported, South Korea is an American colony where the people suffer. It was a lie. That night, I couldn't sleep. My wife asked, worry in her eyes, "Comrade, what's wrong?" I shook my head. I couldn't tell her. Not even her. In this country, thoughts alone could condemn you. I sat alone in my room, reviewing my 35 years. I'd sent dozens of agents to the South. How many realized the truth like Cheol-ho? How many never came back? We called them traitors. But maybe they were the honest ones. Maybe we were the liars. I looked up at the Pyongyang night sky. My parents' generation fought in the Korean War. They gave their lives for reunification. I followed that path for 35 years. But what if we'd been running in the wrong direction? What if everything I'd done was meaningless? From that night on, I changed. Outwardly, I remained a loyal cadre. Inside, doubt grew. In meetings, when I said South Korean puppets, my voice sounded hollow. At the training center, teaching young agents, guilt washed over me. Am I sending these kids down a path of lies? That winter of 2022 was unusually cold, but my heart was colder still. Is there any pain worse than watching your beliefs crumble after 35 years? Every night before sleep, I wondered, what do I do now? What's at the end of this road? I didn't know then. This was just the beginning. A bigger shock was coming. A deeper awakening. The new year arrived, but January 2023 was hell for me. After Kim Cheol-ho's defection, the party central committee issued special instructions. Punish the traitor's family severely. Make an example. I held that order in my trembling hands. Punishment. I attended the meeting with a sinking feeling. Kim Cheol-ho's family in Pyongyang will be publicly executed. Director Park, you will oversee it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. His family, his 75-year-old mother, his 40-year-old wife, and his 2 daughters, 13 and 9. When I sent Cheol-ho south, his mother grabbed my hand. Please take care of my son. Those little girls waved. Daddy, come back soon. Comrade, why no response? Are you wavering? The superior's sharp gaze snapped me back. No! I will carry out the party's orders. My voice was loud, but shaking. 2 days later, the public execution took place at a site outside Pyongyang. Thousands were mobilized to watch. I stood in the cadre section. I had to witness it. They dragged out Cheol-ho's mother first, a bent old woman. Behind her, his wife and 2 young granddaughters. The children were crying. They didn't understand. The families of traitors are punished for 3 generations. Gunshots rang out. I couldn't close my eyes. As a cadre, I had to watch until the end. I'll never forget what I saw that day. My father said even the Korean War wasn't like this. On the battlefield, they didn't touch women and children. When I got home, I went straight to the bathroom and vomited. Nothing came up but bile. I looked in the mirror. My face looked monstrous. This is what I've been doing. I felt blood on my hands. 35 years. Dozens of agents I sent south. Did their families suffer like this too if they defected? That night I told my wife, we can't live like this anymore. She jumped up and covered my mouth. Comrade, come to your senses. If you say that outside, we'll... Fear filled her eyes too, but my mind was made up. We had to get out. Escape this hell. A few days later, more shocking news arrived. A colleague I'd worked with, had disappeared. He was 2 years older than me. Same background reconnaissance bureau. We drank together. Shared our worries. The excuse was ideological inspection of those with frequent overseas travel. That's when I understood. Loyalty didn't matter. Anyone who'd been abroad was suspect. Anyone could be purged. I'd traveled overseas dozens of times. China, Russia, Southeast Asia. That meant I could be next. At home, I looked at family photos. My daughter was married, living in Pyongyang. My son served as an army officer. If they purged me, what would happen to them? The guilt by association system would send them to political prison camps. My grandchildren, too. 3 generations of suffering. That night, I stood by the living room window, looking at Pyongyang's night view. Scattered lights across the city. This was the place I'd called my homeland for 56 years. But now I knew the truth. It wasn't a homeland. It was a prison. No matter how loyal, no matter how much you sacrificed, they could brand you a traitor and kill you. I couldn't protect my family here. I have to leave, to survive, to protect my family. That night, I started planning in detail how to escape, where to go, what to prepare. 35 years of managing South Korean operations, now I'd use that experience for my own escape. I was terrified, but staying here was more terrifying. Every night I had nightmares. Cheolho's family at the execution, the gunshots echoing in my ears. Please, I have to survive. Spring came in March 2023, but my heart stayed colder than winter. One morning at work, I found an internal document on my desk. I opened it. My blood froze. List of subjects for ideological inspection, overseas contact history. My name was on it. Someone left it there as a warning. Probably an old colleague. At lunch, I secretly called my wife. I'm coming home early tonight. We need to talk. My voice shook, but I stayed calm. Even phones could be monitored. That evening at home, we sat facing each other. I closed all the windows and whispered, "We're leaving. We're escaping." Her face went white. "Comrade, what are you?" "My name's on the purge list. If we stay, we both die. Our children, too." She cried for a long time. Then she nodded. "I'll follow you. Even if we die together." We held each other and wept that night. Leaving this land where we'd lived for over 50 years. Leaving our daughter and grandchildren in Pyongyang. Leaving our son in the army. It broke our hearts. But we had no choice. Stay and die. The children would go to the camps too under guilt by association. Better that we survive. Maybe when reunification comes, we'll meet again. The next day, I started preparing. I used everything I'd learned from 35 years of operations. Border guard deployments, state security surveillance networks, escape routes. I knew it all better than anyone. Ironically, the man who stopped people from escaping was now looking for gaps in the system. Money was the biggest problem. Bribes for Chinese brokers, travel expenses, emergency funds. I needed at least $10,000. Fortunately, 35 years as a director meant I'd saved dollars. I sold foreign goods from special rations at the market, not directly through someone trustworthy. Timing mattered. Summer meant tight border security. Winter meant frozen rivers easier to cross, but you could freeze to death. August was ideal. High water loosened security a bit. The weather was bearable. The hardest part was saying goodbye. One day, I visited my daughter's house. My grandson ran up. "Grandpa!" He hugged me. My heart tore. Will I ever see this child again? I couldn't tell my daughter anything. If she knew, she'd try to stop us. If she didn't know, she'd suffer later under guilt by association. I wrote my son a letter. I couldn't write my true feelings, of course. "Son, I'm proud of you. Stay healthy." That would be my last letter to him. My 85-year-old mother worried me most. One Sunday, I visited her. Like Koreans who suffered through the IMF crisis, my mother aged through the arduous March years. "Mother, I've been an unfilial son." I bowed deeply. She looked puzzled. "What's this about?" "Just, thank you." At home, my wife and I did a final check. What to take a few family photos, ID cards, dollars, simple clothing. What to leave a lifetime of memories, our children, my mother, everything in this land. Late July, I obtained a travel permit to North Hamgyong province under work pretenses. As a director, that was easy. Border area security inspection along the Tumen River. That was the excuse. Ironically, I was going to the border to escape, but the official reason was to prevent escapes. I set the date for August 10th. 10 days before the full moon, enough moonlight to see, but not too bright. The rainy season would be ending. The river level would be manageable. D10, D5. My heart pounded harder as the date approached. The night of August 9th, our last night in Pyongyang. My wife and I sat holding hands. Through the window, the Taedong River flowed. Moran Hill rose in the distance. 56 years in this city. This was goodbye. Tomorrow it all ends. Or we end. I couldn't sleep. Dawn came. The sun rose. The longest journey of my life was beginning. A journey toward survival, toward freedom. August 10th, 2023, the longest day of my life. At 5 a.m., we left Pyongyang. Just my wife and me. My director-level ID and travel orders went into my bag. We took the train toward Onsong, North Hamgyong province. On the train, I couldn't eat anything. Nothing would go down. We reached Onsong at 2 p.m. I rented a vehicle there. "I'm here for border security inspection," I said. The local state security office provided a military jeep. I insisted on driving myself. I declined their offer to accompany me. Classified mission, I told them. At 4 p.m., we arrived at a Tumen River border post. The post commander saluted me. A director showing up personally surprised him. "Comrade, report the security situation in this area." I spent an hour touring the post, talking to guards. Really, I was scouting escape routes. The sun began setting. Summer meant long daylight. That helped. "Comrade Commander, good work. I'll survey the riverbank some more before leaving." I left the post. My heart was pounding. At 10 p.m., full darkness fell. I hid the vehicle in woods near the river. My wife and I walked down to the riverbank. The Tumen River lay ahead. Across it, China. Freedom. "Ready?" My wife answered in a trembling voice. "I'll follow you anywhere." We stripped off our clothes, sealed them in plastic bags. We wore only underwear. We lifted our bags overhead and stepped into the water. The river was cold and fast, even in August. I went first. My wife followed. Mid-50s, crossing a river like this. If only we were younger. The water rose to my waist, my chest. Rocks slipped underfoot. My wife stumbled. "Honey!" I grabbed her hand fast. Then, "Stop right there!" A shout from behind. Patrol guards. Flashlight beams hit us. I froze solid. 35 years preventing this very thing. Now I was the target. "Who's there? Get out now!" Gunfire. I didn't know if it was a warning shot or live rounds. Bullets whistled overhead. Live rounds. "Keep going. Even if we die, we reach the other side." I gripped my wife's hand and pushed forward. The current tried to sweep us away. My legs were giving out. "Please, just a little more." More gunfire. Closer this time. Water splashed up. I heard guards running down to the bank. Radios crackled. "Pursuit team, deploy." I prayed. To a God I'd never believed in. "Father in heaven, Mother, help us. Please let us live." Did my father feel this way, fighting through the Korean War? Halfway across, my legs nearly gave out. The hardest moment of my 56 years. But I couldn't give up. I looked back. My wife was following with everything she had. Tears or river water streamed down her face. "Just a little more, a little more." Finally, we crossed the midpoint. The Chinese side was close. The guards' voices faded. The sound of the river drowned them out. They couldn't chase us across the border. At last, we reached the Chinese bank. We crawled up and collapsed in the grass. My whole body shook. From cold or fear, I couldn't tell. My wife lay beside me, gasping. We did it. We made it. Across the Tumen River, North Korea. My mother was there. My daughter. My son. My grandchildren. But I could never return. My wife and I held each other and cried. Tears of joy or sorrow I couldn't tell. I just knew we were alive. We'd reached freedom, but it wasn't over. This was China. I knew too well North Korean state security had pursuit teams in China, too. This was just the beginning. We changed into dry clothes and walked into the darkness. 2 a.m. somewhere in China. We walked to survive. We set foot in China, but freedom was still far away. At 3 a.m., we wandered in darkness. Somewhere in Yanbian, China. Our clothes were soaked. Our bodies trembled. Despite August, the early morning river wind was cold. Mid-50s going through this. But we couldn't stop. The North Korean pursuit team would cross the border. I knew their methods too well. At daybreak, we saw a small village. It looked like an ethnic Korean area. We hesitated at one house, then knocked. An old man answered. I started to speak, but my voice caught. He looked us up and down once, then nodded. Come in. Quickly! He understood our situation immediately. Elderly Korean Chinese in Yanbian had seen many defectors. He showed us to a room, brought warm clothes and food. Corn porridge, thicker than what we ate in the north. Tears came. Thank you. Thank you so much. The old man said nothing. He just sighed. Same Korean people, going through such hardship. We rested at his house for a day. He gave us a broker's contact information. Call this person. He'll get you to South Korea. I tried to give him some dollars. He waved his hand. No money. Just go safely. Live well. That evening, the broker came. A Korean Chinese youth. $5,000 per person to South Korea. I handed over the money I'd prepared. He put us in a car. We had to hide in the truck bed, dark and cramped. But we had no room to complain. For 2 days, we rode in that truck bed. We took back roads to avoid Chinese police checkpoints. 1 meal a day, a piece of bread. Bathroom breaks happened quickly in the mountains. Koreans who lived through the IMF crisis said it was hard, but this was extreme. On the third day, we reached a large city. Shenyang, they said. There we met a South Korean missionary, a pastor in his 50s. Brother, sister, you've suffered so much. You're safe now. The safe house was a small apartment. We stayed there a week. The pastor brought food daily. Rice, kimchi, soybean paste stew. How long had it been since we'd eaten a proper meal? My wife and I ate and cried again, but we couldn't fully relax. One night the pastor came urgently. Brother, we have information that North Korean agents are coming to this area. We need to move immediately. My heart sank. They'd chased us this far. A director-level defection, the North must be desperate to catch me. That night we packed again. The pastor arranged another vehicle. You'll go to Vietnam. From there, head to the South Korean embassy. Vietnam. How far was that? We left Shenyang and headed south. Guangzhou, Nanning, unfamiliar city names. A week passing through different cities, different cars, different brokers, different safe houses each time. Underground church members helped us in relay. God is guiding you. Soon you'll have freedom. I'd never had faith. I lived loyal to the party. But watching those pastors and believers, I thought, if God exists, he works through people like this. Every night, I clasped my hands and prayed. Please protect us. Let us reach South Korea safely. 2 weeks in China felt like a year. Every night, nightmares. Being caught by pursuit teams. Being sent back. Execution by firing squad. I'd wake up drenched in sweat. My wife looked exhausted too. Her face thinned. More gray hair appeared. Honey, I'm sorry. Putting you through this. She took my hand. It's okay. I can go anywhere with you, as long as we find freedom. Late August, we finally reached the China-Vietnam border. The broker said, cross into Vietnam here. It's 2 days to Hanoi. Go to the South Korean embassy there. Hope appeared. The end was in sight. We crossed the border at night. More mountain paths to walk. Mid-50s walking endlessly. Blisters formed and burst on my feet. But I endured. Just a little more, and we'd have freedom. When we entered Vietnam, rain fell. Hot August rain in Vietnam. We stood in it, looking up at the sky. 20 days since leaving Pyongyang. 20 days since crossing the Tumen River. Just a little more to the South Korean embassy. Honey, we're almost there. Just a bit more strength. My wife smiled in the rain. Her first smile in 20 days. Seeing it, I smiled too. Being alive. Being together. Soon having freedom, it felt like a miracle. 2 days after entering Vietnam, we reached Hanoi. September 1st, 2023. 22 days since leaving Pyongyang. The broker dropped us at a small hotel on Hanoi's outskirts. Go to the South Korean embassy tomorrow morning. My job ends here. We thanked him. Thank you. Take care. That night I couldn't sleep. Tomorrow, the South Korean embassy. Entering the embrace of the Republic of Korea. Excitement and fear mixed together. Will they really accept us? What if they refuse? Pointless worries, but I was anxious. I woke at 5 a.m. My wife hadn't slept either. Her eyes were swollen. We looked at each other for a long time. Honey, we really did it. Not yet. Not until we're inside the embassy. At 8 a.m., we took a taxi to the South Korean embassy. Passing through downtown Hanoi, I looked out the window. Motorcycles flowing like water. Street vendors. People going to work. Free scenes. So different from Pyongyang. When we arrived at the embassy, my legs shook. The Korean flag was flying. Seeing that flag, tears poured out. In 56 years, I'd never seen the Korean flag this close. My wife was crying too. I approached the guard. We're from North Korea. I couldn't finish. The guard looked surprised and contacted someone inside. Soon a consular officer came out. Come in quickly. The moment we entered the embassy, my knees buckled. I collapsed on the floor crying. Thank you so much. For 35 years, I ran operations against South Korea. Now I was asking for protection from the Republic of Korea. Life is ironic. The consul brought water and drinks. Calm down. You're safe now. You'll be protected as citizens of the Republic of Korea. Hearing those words, all my tension released. Strength left my body. The investigation began. My identity. My career. How we escaped. I told them everything honestly. I was director of North Korea's United Front Department. For 35 years, I ran South Korean operations. I trained and sent infiltration agents. The consuls looked shocked. Director level? This is a significant matter. My mind swirled. Everything I'd done my whole life was hostile to South Korea. Would they accept me or punish me? But the consul said, "It's okay. We welcome your courage in coming. You're a citizen of the Republic of Korea now." Hearing that, I cried again. It felt like forgiveness. Forgiveness for 35 years of crimes. We spent 3 days at the embassy. During that time, procedures with the South Korean government. Identity verification, investigations, paperwork, complex, but I cooperated gladly. One evening, an embassy staff member brought Korean food. Bibimbap. I held the bowl and stared at it. The taste I'd secretly tried when infiltrating Seoul in the 1990s. Back then, I thought it was enemy food. Now it was my country's food. At night, my wife and I looked out at Hanoi's night view from the embassy window. Honey, I think of my mother in Pyongyang. Me too. Our daughter and son. Our grandchildren. We both cried silently. We had freedom, but the pain of leaving family would last forever. September 5th, finally we received tickets to South Korea. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., you'll board a flight to Incheon Airport. My heart raced at the consul's words. Tomorrow. Tomorrow we'd really set foot on South Korean soil. That night I couldn't sleep either. Over 70 years since the division after the Korean War. My parents' generation fought the war. My generation lived in opposition. Now I was going south. Historical irony. At 6 a.m. I woke and packed. All we had a few clothes and family photos. Photos secretly taken from our Pyongyang home drawer. My mother, daughter, son, grandchildren smiling. These photos were all I had left. In the car to the airport, I looked at Hanoi's streets one last time. In this city, my new life began. Park Min-chul, the North Korean operative, was dying. Park Min-chul, citizen of the Republic of Korea, was being born. I boarded the plane. Sitting in my seat, I looked out the window. Flying above the clouds. Somewhere below was North Korea. Pyongyang. My mother. My children. Mother. Daughter. Son. Your father is alive. When reunification comes, we'll meet again. The plane took off, flying toward Incheon, toward freedom, toward a new life. September 6, 2023, 2 p.m. We landed at Incheon International Airport. The plane door opened. Walking down the corridor, my legs trembled. For the first time in 56 years, I was setting foot on South Korean soil. In the 1990s, when I infiltrated Seoul as an agent, it was enemy territory. Now it was my homeland. Government officials were waiting past arrivals. Mr. Park Min-chul, welcome. We sincerely welcome you to the Republic of Korea. Hearing those words, my chest swelled. I gripped my wife's hand. Honey, we did it. We really did it. We drove to Hanwon. The Republic of Korea landscape through the window was strange and fascinating. Wide roads, countless cars, tall buildings, nothing compared to Pyongyang. Convenience store lights blazed bright. Those are convenience stores, open 24 hours, a staff member explained. Buying things day and night, unbelievable. We spent 3 months at Hanwon, training for adapting to South Korean society, democracy, market economy, human rights, freedom, values I'd denied for 35 years. At first, it felt awkward. You elect the president, labor unions can strike, unimaginable things in the North. The most shocking thing was the internet. I could search for North Korean news on my phone. Kim Jong-un's activities, North Korea's economic situation, all information in my palm. One day, searching for North Korean news, I found an article about my defection. Highest-ranking North Korean operative director defects. My heart sank. Was my family in the North okay? Every night, nightmares. My 85-year-old mother being tortured. My daughter and son-in-law dragged to camps. Grandchildren crying. I'd wake soaked in sweat. My wife would hold my hand. It's not your fault. We had no choice to survive. During Hanwon training, I received psychological counseling. I told the counselor everything. I ran South Korean operations for 35 years. I sent dozens of agents south. I spread lies. Regretting it now is useless, isn't it? The counselor said, "You can't change the past, but you can tell the truth from now on. That's atonement. That's your mission." December. I finished Hanwon and entered society. The government assigned us a rental apartment. A small apartment in a city in Gyeonggi province. Much smaller than our Pyongyang high-rise, but this place felt like heaven. Warm on-doll heating. Electricity 247. Running water. These basic things I was grateful. The first time I went to a supermarket, I was amazed. Goods overflowing. Rice. Meat. Fruit. Vegetables. Nothing like North Korean markets. I picked up an apple and stared at it. This is all real. Kim Cheol-ho's encrypted message was true. The language was different, too. South Koreans spoke softly. Heyo, heyo, iyeyo, iyeyo. In the north, we spoke stiffly. Hamnida, hamnida, imnida, imnida. Awkward at first, but I learned slowly. When I could say, "one Americano, please," at a coffee shop, it felt amazing. But adapting wasn't easy. Finding work was hard. Mid-50s, former North Korean operative. Few places would hire me. For months, I sent resumes everywhere. Rejected every time. I almost gave up. But I didn't. I crossed the Tumen River, escaped through China. Made it here. I couldn't be beaten by this. Spring 2024. Finally, I got a job at a Reunification research institute, testifying about North Korean realities, analyzing materials. My 35 years of experience finally had value. Now I could tell the truth instead of lies. One day I received a speaking request. A university asked me to lecture on North Korean intelligence organizations. I stood at the podium nervous. I spoke to the students. For 35 years, I lived as a North Korean operative. I viewed you as enemies, but now I understand. We were always one people. After the lecture, a student approached. "Professor, is reunification really possible?" I answered, "It is. It must be. My standing here is proof. We were one. We will be one again?" Now it's November 2025, a little over 2 years since coming to South Korea. My wife and I still live in our small apartment. Every morning I wake and pray toward the north. "Mother, are you healthy? Daughter, son, are you well? Grandchildren, your grandfather is alive." When reunification comes, I'll run to Pyongyang. I'll climb Moran Hill, walk along the Taedong River, bow at my mother's grave, embrace my children. Until that day, I'll keep telling the truth. I say to you, freedom isn't free. Please cherish this freedom, earned at the cost of lives. 25 million compatriots in the North still suffer. Even if our generation doesn't see reunification, the next generation must see a united homeland. Today, I live gratefully as a citizen of the Republic of Korea. Though separated from family, breathing freely is happiness enough. This is my story. From North Korea's highest-ranking operative director to citizen of the Republic of Korea. Park Min-chul's story. Thank you.